بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على سيدنا ونبينا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين لا سيما بقية الله في الأراضين أجل الله تعالى فرجه الشريف اللهم أخرجني من ظلمات الوهم وأكرمني من نور الفهم اللهم افتح علينا أبواب رحمتك وانشر علينا خزائن علومك برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. Alhamdulillah, we have tawfiq to continue our study of Hadith 16 from 40 Hadith, which is about patience. Inshallah, I hope today we can complete this section, and inshallah then we move on to Hadith 17, which is about repentance, about Tawbah. In the previous chapter, when we talked about Sabra, there were two hadiths, or three hadiths actually, that I think we didn't manage to discuss. We discussed the whole chapter, but I think three hadiths were at the end that we didn't manage to cover. So I start with those three beautiful hadiths, and then inshallah we move on to the next chapter, which is about darajat, about ranks of patience. Muhammad ibn Ya'qub Sheikh al-Kulayni quotes through his own chain of narration from Sama'at ibn Mihran, from Abil Hasan alayhi salam, from Imam Kadhim alayhi salam, that Imam Kadhim told Sama'a, Ma habasaka anil hajj. What did stop you from Hajj? Why you were not able to do Hajj? قلت جعلت فداك وقع علي دين كثير وذهب مالي. I had lots of debt to people, and my money had finished. وديني الذي قد لزمني هو أعظم من ذهاب مالي. Although I ran out of money paying back the debts, still it didn't suffice. I had no money left, but I have lots of debts left. فلو أن رجلا من أصحابنا أخرجني ما قدرت أن أخرج. Had it not been that one of our brothers had supported me, I was not able to go for Hajj or come for Hajj. Then Imam alayhi salam told him, perhaps before or during conversation, there were signs of him somehow being impatient or on the edge of losing his patience, or needed some confirmation about significance of patience. So Imam alayhi salam told him, "In tasbir tughtabat wa illa tasbir yunaffidullahu maqadirahu radiyan kunta am karahan." If you are patient, people will envy you. Positive envy, which is ghibta, means you would be a person that people would envy, that they wish to be like you. But suppose you are not patient, yunaffidullahu maqadirahu. Your lack of patience is not going to stop things. Still, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would implement His decrees and His measures, whether you like it or you don't like it. So what is better? Is it better to be patient and in this way become stronger and also respected more, or to be impatient and don't bring anything positive to you and indeed waste your energy and damage your honor by being impatient? Which one is better? For sure it's better to be patient. Like for example, I am ill, I am poor. Okay, we said if you are ill, you go for a doctor, you take prescription, whatever. If you are poor, you work. Okay, but till your problem is over, you can be patient and you can be impatient. Which one is better? If you are impatient, you would just damage yourself more. Suppose you are in a hot place. Let me make a very simple example. I'm in a very hot place. Weather is very hot. And there is no air conditioning. Okay. I have to be there. What can I do? I can start, shouting, screaming, complaining, annoying myself and people around, and then this is just a slippery road. It becomes more and more worse. Or I can say, okay, right now there is nothing else I can do. I have to be patient. Let's focus on other things. Let's divert my attention to some more positive things. Neither my patience or impatience is going to stop the bad weather. But I can have bad weather plus bad akhlaq, bad temper. I can have bad weather but good temper. Which one is better? The next hadith is again from Kafi, and it reaches Abu Hamza al-Shomali rahmatullah alayhi from Imam Sadiq alayhi salam. And this is very beautiful hadith, very, very beautiful. And we have many hadiths like this. And Imam Khomeini says there are many hadiths like this that we mentioned some of them later. Some of you who are familiar with the series we had on, or lectures we had on suffering, or series on divine justice, you know some of these hadiths. Imam Sadiq alayhi salam said, "Man ibtuliya min al-mu'minin bi-bala'in fasabara alayh kana lahu mithlu ajr alf shahid." If any of mu'minin is suffering, is tested, is examined with a bala, with a trial. Bala means trial. You can say calamity, suffering, but originally the meaning of bala is trial. So if you are tried with a trial, means with a calamity, with a difficulty, فَصَبَرَ عَلَيْهِ, and then he or she is patient, كَانَ لَهُ مِثْلُ أَجْرِ أَلْفِ شَهِيدٍ, he would have reward like the reward of 1,000 martyrs. To be even compared to a martyr is a great thing. If someone tells you that you are like a martyr, it's a great honor that you are like a martyr who has given his life sincerely to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You are still alive, but if someone says this to you, you feel very much honored and you say, no, I don't deserve this. I am not like a martyr. I have not done anything. But if you are said you are going to be rewarded like 5 martyrs, 10 martyrs, 100 martyrs, and then 1,000 martyrs. What do you think? These words we read, but we have to a little bit stop and reflect. These are said by people who don't exaggerate. It's not that it is 10 martyrs and na'uzu billah, Imam Sadiq alayhi salam exaggerates and instead of 10 says 1,000. No, If it was 999, Imam Sadiq would have said 999, not 1000. He would not add even 1 to 999. So, what a great honor and privilege is here. That to be patient and Allah would reward you like 1000 martyrs. I remember a hadith that I had seen or heard many, many years ago, and I mentioned in some of the lectures, but I don't know where is the source right now. I don't, unfortunately, remember the reference. But the hadith is very interesting, that on the day of judgment, when martyrs are judged to go to heaven, they would see some people are going to heaven before them. They would ask, who are these people? Not objection, for the sake of understanding. There is no objection. Who are these people who go before martyrs to heaven? The reply is, these are people who are patient, sabirun. Because if you died once for the sake of Allah, these people were every day dying or were ready to die. You know, sometimes people who are patient, maybe they actually prefer to die sooner because there's so much problem and pressure. But they are pleased with Allah's decision. They don't want to, rush their departure. But it's not that they are attached to dunya and attached to this life. So martyr is the one who has given his life to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala once. I'm not saying every martyr is like this, because we have martyrs who are also sabir. That's second quality. But if suppose just someone is a martyr, okay, it's enough to give your life once. But patient people are people whose life is for an extended period of time filled with pressure and difficulties and pain, but still they are living according to the will of Allah. So these people have higher position. Okay, the next thing here is about the barzakhi form of patience. In dunya, some things have form, some things don't have physical forms. For example, water has a form, ice has a form, fire has a form. But light of Iman doesn't have any physical form in dunya. Light of Amal Saleh, light of remembrance of Allah. Many things don't have physical form. Your virtues, you are generous, you are sincere. There is no physical form for it. Sometimes these abstract or immaterial realities may take some forms from this world, like someone who puts on a dress so that we recognize them. And this is the concept of tamathul that we mentioned in the series on the Quran in the Hawza, Understanding Quranic Sciences. فَتَمَثَّلَ لَهَا بَشَرًا سَوِيًّا. For example, Jibreel, على نبينا وعليه السلام وعلى جميع الأنبياء والمرسلين والملائكة المقربين, he doesn't have a physical form. He's an angel. But in order to be seen and perceived by Lady Maryam, salamullah alayha, took the form of a human being. فَتَمَثَّلَ لَهَا بَشَرًا سَوِيًّا. So this is tamathul, means something which has no worldly physical form, takes a worldly physical form temporarily so that we understand. Or sometimes these things happen when you have dreams. But when we go to barzakh, or on the day of judgment, then many of the things which were hidden from us, which were in the world of ghaib, in the universe of ghaib, in the unseen, they would be manifest. We would be able to see them. But to explain that experience to someone who is still in dunya, you need to use a kind of symbolic language. So I have to, for example, say that it becomes like a human being, for example. Because right now what I understand as an intelligent understanding reality is a human being. So I have to say your a'mal becomes, for example, like human beings. One of the things that would be manifest in barzakh, and even if we had that barzakhi vision, we were able to see, is your virtues. Of course, vices also are like that. Good and bad both have some manifestations. But we are talking now about sabr as a virtue. So sabr on the day of judgment, or even before that in barzakh, after we die, has a kind of form, a kind of manifestation that has understanding, speaks, communicates. Now, with this introduction, let us read this hadith. In Kafi, there is hadith from Imam Sadiq alayhi salam. إذا دخل المؤمن في قبره, or إذا دخل المؤمن قبره. There are two versions. The meaning is the same. When mu'min, a believer, enters his or her grave, كانت الصلاة عن يمينه والزكاة عن يساره. His or her prayers would be on his or her right side. So it's like a escort. And zakat, the alms that he or she used to give, would be on the left. وَالْبِرُّ مُطِلٌ عَلَيْهِ. And his piety or his kindness or her piety and kindness. Bir means piety, kindness, goodness. Mutillun alay is superseeing. Is superseeing. Is not right or left side, but is watching. But وَيَتَنَحَّ الصَّبْرُ نَاحِيَةً. But his or her patience would take a distance, goes to a, for example, corner. فَإِذَا دَخَلَ عَلَيْهِ الْمَلِكَانِ اللَّذَانِ يَلِيَانِ مُسَاءَلَتَهُ. When the two angels who are responsible for questioning come, قَالَ الصَّبْرُ لِلصَّلَاةِ وَالزَّكَاةِ وَالْبِرِّ دُونَكُمْ صَاحِبَكُمْ. Patience says to prayer and charity and piety of this person, be careful to protect your companion, sahibakum, the one who has you, your possessor, your companion, this person to whom you belong. Take care of him. فَإِنْ عَجَزْتُمْ عَنْهُ. But if you are not capable, means if more support is needed, فَأَنَا دُونَهُ. I would take care of him. So it shows that power of your sabr is more than the power of your prayer and charity and even piety together. So three of them together do something ordinary. But if you want something extraordinary, then your sabr comes and gets involved. So this is the power of sabr. This is the support that you receive in dunya, and it's manifested in the akhirah from sabr. Okay, now we go to the next chapter about the ranks of sabr. There are different ranks for sabr. According to some hadiths, this classes or levels of sabr are 3. One is the first level, as-sabru ala al-musibah. And the second is as-sabru ala al-ta'ah. And the third, the highest, is as-sabru anil ma'siyah. So we have these 3 ranks, one on the top of the other. Let me read the hadith and explain over the text. Amir al-Mu'minin alayhi salam, according to a hadith that we find in Kafi, قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم, Rasulullah said, الصبر ثلاثة. Patience is one of the 3 types. There are 3 types of patience. صبر عند المصيبة. Patience when there is a calamity, the suffering. صبر على الطاعة. Patience for doing acts of obedience. وَصَبْرٌ عَنِ الْمَعْصِيَةِ. Patience to refrain from sins. So, now let's listen to each section, each rank. فَمَنْ صَبَرَ عَلَى الْمُصِيبَةِ. If someone is patient with respect to suffering, the first rank. حَتَّى يَرُدَّهَا بِحُسْنَ عَزَائِهَا. And he is patient till he or she responds with a good response, good reaction, and then finally this is over. It's comforted. Kataballahu. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would write for this ثلاثمائة درجة ما بين الدرجة إلى الدرجة كما بين السماء والأرض. Allah would give him or her 300 ranks, 300 degrees, 300 credits. For each rank, which is, I say it like this, but this is just because I want to say that this is in a spiritual sense. But when you bring each rank to worldly language, Imam alayhi salam says that Rasulullah said is between a sky and the earth. So imagine 300 times more than the distance between a sky and the earth is for the one who has as-sabru ala al-musibah. But then the higher level is وَمَنْ صَبَرَ عَلَى الطَّاعَةِ. The one who is patient with respect to ta'ah, to obedience. He does all his wajibat without being affected by weaknesses, laziness, emotions, tiredness, personal preferences, to be always at the service of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and always perform your wajibat. This is higher, and again here we have 300 degrees. But these degrees are more than بَيْنَ السَّمَاءِ وَالْأَرْضِ. The hadith says وَمَنْ صَبَرَ عَلَى الطَّاعَةِ كَتَبَ اللَّهُ لَهُ 600 درجة ما بين الدرجة إلى الدرجة كما بين تخوم الأرض إلى العرش. Between every 2 degrees is not between a sky and the earth. Suppose this is the earth, the surface of the earth, and the sky. This was the first. Now, instead of surface of the earth, go to tukhumul ard, to the center of the earth. And instead of sama, go to arsh, which is above sama. So 300 degrees, and each degree is this distance. But there is something even greater. وَمَنْ صَبَرَ عَنِ الْمَعْصِيَةِ. But the one who can be patient with respect to sins, doesn't act against the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. كَتَبَ اللَّهُ لَهُ. Sorry, the first one was 300 degree, the second was 600 degree. وَمَنْ صَبَرَ عَنِ الْمَعْصِيَةِ كَتَبَ اللَّهُ لَهُ 900 درجة. Allah would write and register for him 900 degrees. ما بين الدرجة إلى الدرجة كما بين تخوم الأرض إلى منتهى العرش. 900 degrees. One side is center of the earth, but the other side, instead of being sama or even arsh, is muntaha al-arsh, end of the arsh, which would be the closest place to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because arsh itself has size, and maybe arsh itself, and not maybe, perhaps we can be sure, that arsh itself is much bigger than the whole world that we see. Much, much bigger. So, from tukhum al-ard ila muntaha al-arsh. So this is for someone who is sabir with respect to sins. So you can imagine how important it is to be patient. Imam Khomeini has a point here which is very interesting. He says, if the size of heaven is, according to Quran, Jannatin arduha ka'arz as-samawati wal-ard, the size, the width of heaven is equal to the width of the skies and the earth, then why here we have such massive rank, which would be in heaven again, for Sabirun? And he says, maybe some people have tried to explain it another way. He's not very happy with the other explanation, that, for example, some people say, Arzuha ka arz samawat, but it's the width, not the height. Some people have tried to solve this problem by saying the ayah which says Arzuha ka arz samawat wal ard refers to the width, but we have also height. Imam Khomeini says, but it seems that in Quran, when Quran is talking about arz, doesn't talk about width, how wide it is. It's about the size. He prefers this opinion, that heaven is different in size depending on what's the reason for heaven. If it is heaven for actions, for a'mal, arduha ka'arz as-samawati wal ard. But if heaven is because you have good virtues, good akhlaq, then the size is from arsh to the center of the earth, or from end of arsh to the center of the earth, or at least bayna as-sama'i wal ard, but 300 degrees more. So, depending on what's the reason for you going to heaven. If you don't have except good actions, no vices and no virtues, but good action, okay. Arduha ka arz as-sama. But if you have virtues and no vices, then heaven is much more massive for you. Okay, alhamdulillah, we finished this part. And then there is another hadith from Imam Sadiq alayhi salam قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, سيأتي على الناس الزمان. A time would come for people. لا ينال فيه الملك إلا بالقتل والتجبر. No one would reach power, kingdom or power without killing, murder and tajabbur, being tyrant. So without murder and tyranny, it's not possible to get to power. وَلَا الْغِنَى إِلَّا بِالْقَصْبِ وَالْبُخْلِ. And would not be able to become rich unless you do qasb, usurp, or to be miserly, bukhl. وَلَا الْمَحَبَّةِ. And you would not be loved, you would not be popular, إِلَّا بِاسْتِخْرَاجِ الدِّينِ وَاتِّبَاعِ الْهَوَى. Unless you would do something which would be out of religion and you follow your whims. Alhamdulillah, our time is not like this today, but maybe in the past there were times like this, or maybe in future. Inshallah, it doesn't happen in future. I hope it has gone. Because still, alhamdulillah, there is a chance that you can be mu'min and have good akhlaq, good taqwa, and be popular, be rich. So alhamdulillah, it seems our time is not as bad as that. But a time would come, maybe has passed, maybe it's going to come in future, that no power without tyranny and murder, no rich without usurping and being miserly, and no love without going out of religion and following whims. فَمَنْ أَدْرَكَ ذَلِكَ الزَّمَانِ. Rasulullah said, whoever witnesses that time, فَصَبَرَ عَلَى الْفَقْرِ. And he is patient with poverty, وَهُوَ يَقْدِرُ عَلَى الْغِنَى. Although he can become rich by qasb and bukhl, he can become rich, but he prefers to be poor. وَصَبَرَ عَلَى الْبِغْضِ وَهُوَ يَقْدِرُ عَلَى الْمَحَبَّةِ. He prefers to be not popular and not much liked, although he can be very popular. But he says, I prefer to be remaining like this and not do anything wrong. Because I don't want to say anything against religion. I don't want to say anything to please some people. I just want to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, even if I'm not very much popular and not very much favored. وَصَبَرَ عَلَى الظُّلِّ وَهُوَ يَقْدِرُ عَلَى الْعِزِّ. And he's happy not to have that much honor and dignity in the sights of people. آتَاهُ اللَّهُ الثَّوَابَ خَمْسِينَ صِدِّيقًا مِمَّا صَدَّقَ بِهِ. Allah would give such a person who shows patience with respect to these issues the reward of 50 Siddiq, 50 of those who were most truthful, who believed in me and affirmed my mission. Like, for example, 50 of people like Salman. If we consider Salman to be a Siddiq, 50 people like Salman. 50 people like, for example, Maryam as-Siddiq. So imagine if there were 50 people like Lady Maryam who were Siddiq and believed in the message of the Prophet. This is the power of sabr. Finally, I want to finish this, so please bear with me a few more minutes. The last part of this Hadith 16 is about ranks of sabr for Ahlul Ma'rifah. Imam Khomeini says whatever we said so far is for the lay people and middle class. But those who are closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, those who are above mutawassitin. Mutawassitin means those who are in the middle class, intermediate. But those who are advanced, he says for them there are different ranking system. Ranking system for them is different. And he mentions few things very briefly. He says one is as-sabru fillah. So after as-sabru ala al-musibah, as-sabru ala al-ta'ah, as-sabru an al-ma'siyah, then there is as-sabru fillah. Patience in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What does it mean? He says it means that you keep struggling. You keep working hard in order to meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. this is for Ahl Suluk, this is for the wayfarers towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You don't get despaired, you don't lose your hope, you keep trying, you keep knocking the door, you overcome your desires, your personal preferences, keep trying till you reach. This sabr is much more than as-sabru ala ta'ah. This is the patience that a lover of Allah has to have till Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala finds the right time for him or her to open the door to him or her. Then we have as-sabru ma'allah. After as-sabru fillah, we have as-sabru ma'allah. As-sabru ma'allah, to be patient with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What does it mean? It means, imagine you are a lover of Allah, that Allah has now opened the door for you and you are in His presence. A lover, to remain in control of his or her emotions and do things normally is very, very difficult. Because you will be so much overwhelmed by the beautiful presence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that it will be very difficult. So Imam Khomeini says this is for Ahl Huzur wa Mushahede Jamal dar waqt khuruj az jilbab bashariyat. This is for the people who are in the feeling the presence of Allah. Of course, Allah is always present, but you have to feel this presence. The people who are seeing the beauty of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala when they have taken off this dress of bashariyah, this worldly aspect of humanity. You have left it and you have become free from these limitations. Tajarrud az malabis af'al wa sifat. So you are now removing actions and even attributes, and your heart is manifestation of attributes and names of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is very high position. As-sabru ma'allah. Another thing is as-sabru anillah. As-sabru anillah, this is for the people. So let me tell this in this way. I hope I am doing justice with what Imam Khomeini means. As-sabru fillah means you keep trying. You want to reach the door, so it takes time to reach the door, and then you knock the door. So this is as-sabru fillah. You are patient. As-sabru ma'allah is when you enter. You are with Him. But then, after you are with Him, you cannot remain there forever. You have to go back to people and help people to bring them to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. All the prophets and messengers had this trip. You know, Mullah Sadra and other people talk about 4 trips, al-aswarul arba'a. One travel is going back from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to people. So, you are with Allah, but now you have to leave. After you leave, then it would be very, very difficult for you. Life would be miserable for you, because you have experienced this beautiful presence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, being close to Him. Those who have not been able to enter the house, they suffer. But those who have been into the house and now have to come out, they suffer more. Imagine people who want to see Imam Zaman, Ajjalallahu ta'ala farajahu sharif. How much some people really, really want to see him, and they are very much, feeling need for seeing him and loving for seeing him. It's a very difficult situation for them because they really love him. For a lover not to see the beloved is very difficult. But if these people see Imam Zaman, then after that life may become even more difficult. Because when you see him and you listen to him, you see his kindness, you see his light, then after that will be very difficult. So here we need as-sabru anillah, to be patient with respect to being far from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Imam Khomeini says maybe in Dua Kumail, Imam Ali is referring to this. حبني صبرت على عذابك فكيف أصبر على فراقك. Suppose I am able to be patient with respect to your punishment. How can I be patient with respect to being far from you? A person also asked Shibli about patience. فقال أي الصبر أشد. Which type of patience is more difficult? فقال الصبر لله. He said no. Sabr for the sake of Allah. Then he said الصبر بالله. He said no. الصبر على الله. He said no. الصبر في الله. He said no. الصبر مع الله. فقال الله. He said no. فقال ويحك فأي. So he said, woe to you, which one is more difficult? فقال الصبر عن الله. This young person said الصبر عن الله. And فشهق الشبلي وخر مخشيا عليه. He became unconscious. He fell down and became unconscious. So الصبر عن الله is the experience of someone who has been very close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but now he has to do ordinary things. He has to come to society, have public life, deal with difficulties of life, but his heart and mind are with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Another rank and final is sabr billah, being patient with the assistance and power of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And he says this is only for kummalin, for the most perfect people, and these are the people who have had istiqamah, who were persistent, and they are the people that after falling in love with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they have become again conscious. There is a consciousness before falling in love, which is very basic. Then when you fall in love, you are like a drunk person. Then if you keep trying, then you become again conscious. But this consciousness after drinking the wine of love is different, much more higher consciousness. And you have very peaceful mind, very concentrated, willpower, and you are very energized. This is only for the people who have experienced that level of closeness and have been persistent and have gone higher, and they have akhlaqullah, takhalluq bi akhlaqillah. They have the characteristics of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as much as a human being can have. But he says, other than kummal, those people who are the most perfect, no one can reach this position. And he says, because we don't reach these positions, so I don't want to expand more. And he says, he stops here. Alhamdulillah awwalan wa akhiran wa sallallahu ala Muhammadin wa alihi at-tahirin. We pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to enable us to understand and inshallah experience these beautiful points that we learned from Imam Khomeini and from our ulama about patience. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin.